Ladies and gentlemen, kindness is a beautiful virtue. It's something we are all encouraged to embody. But let me tell you today, if you're not careful, kindness will ruin you. You see, there's a fine line between being kind and being a doormat. A lot of people confuse the two. They believe that to be kind means to say yes to every request, to give until you're empty, to always be the one with a soft heart. But my friend, kindness without wisdom is dangerous. When kindness is given without careful thought or boundaries, it can lead to something far more damaging than the initial good intention behind it. You see, when we constantly step in to help others without expecting anything in return or without giving them the chance to stand on their own, we create a cycle of dependency. People begin to rely on your generosity and assistance rather than developing the skills or resilience needed to navigate life's challenges on their own. What starts as an act of compassion slowly transforms into a pattern where others come to expect your help at every turn. Instead of fostering independence and strength, your kindness becomes a crutch for them. They no longer seek solutions or try to push themselves forward because they know that you will always be there to pick up the pieces. This doesn't just prevent their growth, it diminishes their ability to cope with difficulties, leaving them weaker and more reliant on you. The danger in this situation is that while you think you're being helpful, you are actually preventing them from experiencing the growth that comes from struggle and perseverance. Challenges build character, but if you're constantly rescuing people from their problems, they miss out on the valuable lessons that come from overcoming adversity. Additionally, as their dependence on your kindness grows, you begin to shoulder their burdens alongside your own. You find yourself emotionally, mentally, and even financially drained because you're not just managing your own life, you're managing theirs too. And as much as you want to help, you can't carry the weight of everyone around you without eventually burning out. In the long run, kindness that creates dependency doesn't uplift or empower, it hinders progress. By constantly stepping in, you unintentionally send the message that they are incapable of solving their own problems. Instead of becoming stronger and more self-reliant, they become more dependent on your interventions. True kindness should inspire growth, not foster dependence. It's about knowing when to help and when to step back. It's recognizing that sometimes the best thing you can do for someone is to allow them to struggle, to figure things out on their own, and to become stronger because of it. When kindness is given without limits or boundaries, it can quickly become a tool for others to exploit. People begin to recognize that you are always available, always willing to help, and always ready to say yes. What starts as genuine goodwill on your part is soon perceived as something they can take advantage of. They begin to view your kindness not as a virtue, but as a weakness they can manipulate. The more you offer without setting boundaries, the more people will push. They'll start to ask for more of your time, more of your energy, and more of your resources. And why wouldn't they? If you're constantly giving, they have no reason to stop taking. Over time, they lose respect for your generosity, seeing it as an endless resource they can tap into whenever they please. This isn't just about material or financial resources. It extends to emotional and mental energy as well. People will begin to expect that you'll always be there to solve their problems, to listen to their complaints, and to clean up their messes. They'll rely on you to make sacrifices, often without considering how it impacts your well-being. Your kindness, rather than being appreciated, becomes an expectation. But the truth is, when people start to exploit your kindness, they stop valuing it. They no longer see it as something special or meaningful. Instead, they come to believe that you are always available to serve their needs, regardless of how it affects you. And as they take more, you begin to feel drained mentally, emotionally, and even physically. The real issue here is that people who exploit kindness rarely reciprocate it. They become accustomed to taking without giving, and the relationship becomes unbalanced. They feel entitled to your help and support, and they won't hesitate to keep asking for more as long as you keep providing. Over time, this can lead to resentment. You begin to feel unappreciated, used, and undervalued. The very people you've helped now expect your kindness without offering anything in return. They've exploited your goodwill, and in doing so, they've taken advantage of your desire to do good. It's essential to recognize when your kindness is being exploited and to establish boundaries that protect both your energy and your peace of mind. True kindness doesn't mean saying yes to everything. It means knowing when to say no. In order to prevent others from taking advantage of your generosity, without these limits, your kindness will be seen as something to exploit rather than something to appreciate. When kindness is extended without the wisdom to guide it, it often leads to manipulation. You see, kindness by itself, without careful thought or discernment, can make you vulnerable. People who recognize your willingness to help and your genuine heart can easily take advantage of you if you're not careful. They learn how to push the right buttons, how to phrase their requests, and how to appeal to your empathy, knowing that you will respond without hesitation. Without wisdom, you may fail to see the motives behind people's actions. You may assume that every plea for help is genuine, every need is urgent, and every person has good intentions. But this isn't always the case. Some individuals recognize an opportunity when they see it. They know that your kindness comes without conditions, and they will manipulate that for their own benefit. Whether it's seeking constant emotional support, financial aid, or using your time to meet their own goals, they will find ways to use your generosity to their advantage. The more you give without thinking, the more you open yourself up to being controlled by others. They start to expect your kindness at every turn, and worse, they start to manipulate situations to ensure they always get what they want from you. They may play on your emotions, making you feel guilty if you hesitate to help, or painting themselves as victims in need of constant rescue. Over time, they learn exactly how to manipulate your kindness to serve their needs. When you lack the wisdom to set boundaries, your kindness can quickly turn into a form of enslavement. You find yourself at the mercy of others' requests, constantly giving in because you believe it's the right thing to do. But in reality, you are being manipulated into serving others' agendas rather than offering kindness on your own terms. Wisdom, on the other hand, teaches you how to discern when to help and when to step back. It helps you see beyond the surface of someone's requests and recognize whether their intentions are genuine or self-serving. It teaches you the difference between helping someone in need and being used by someone who knows how to exploit your generosity. Without wisdom, kindness becomes a trap. It no longer empowers others or reflects your values. It becomes a tool in the hands of those who know how to manipulate it. The kindness that should uplift and strengthen others ends up being drained, twisted into something that serves the interests of those who have learned how to take without giving. To protect yourself from manipulation, you need to pair your kindness with discernment. Understand that while it's noble to help, you must do so with clarity and wisdom. Know when to say no and when to recognize when someone is taking advantage of your good nature. True kindness requires strength, and that strength comes from the wisdom to know when you're being manipulated and when your actions are truly helping others. When you consistently give without considering your own needs, overgenerosity begins to take a toll on your potential. You might start with the intention of helping others, but when giving becomes excessive, it can slowly chip away at the very resources that you need to grow, thrive, and succeed. Every act of generosity, while noble, requires something from you, whether it's time, energy, focus, or even financial resources. When these are given away too freely, without any limit, you start to deplete the reserves that are meant to fuel your own journey. The problem with overgenerosity is that it often shifts your focus outward, constantly attending to the needs of others while neglecting your own goals, dreams, and ambitions. You begin to place the priorities of others ahead of your own. And over time, this imbalance can have a significant impact. Instead of investing in your own growth and development, you are spending your potential on everyone else. The energy that should be driving you toward your purpose is scattered, given away in pieces to those around you. This can lead to a sense of stagnation. While you are busy supporting others, your own progress slows. The dreams you had for yourself, the goals you wanted to accomplish, start to slip further from your reach because your capacity to focus on them is constantly being drained. You may even begin to feel frustrated, wondering why you're not advancing as quickly as you hoped, all while unknowingly spending your potential on those who may not even appreciate or benefit from your generosity in the long term. Additionally, overgenerosity can create a cycle where people begin to expect your help, making it difficult to say no. They come to rely on your willingness to give, and before you know it, you are pouring more and more of your energy into their lives while neglecting your own. This pattern can be emotionally and mentally exhausting, as it leaves little room for you to focus on your own needs, passions, and aspirations. The more you give, the less you have left for yourself. Over time, this depletion affects not only your potential for personal success, but also your sense of fulfillment. You may begin to feel empty, as though you are constantly giving but not receiving anything in return. This can lead to burnout, frustration, and a feeling that your own life is being put on hold for the sake of others. The key to breaking free from this cycle is recognizing that generosity, while important, must be balanced. You have to protect your potential by learning when to give and when to hold back. It's essential to understand that your own growth and success are just as important as helping others. In fact, when you focus on reaching your full potential, you are in a much stronger position to help those around you in a meaningful and sustainable way. If you continue to give without regard for your own future, you may find yourself drained of the very things that could propel you forward: your energy, your focus, your creativity. To reach your potential, you need to reserve some of those resources for yourself, investing them in your own personal growth, and ensuring that your generosity doesn't come at the cost of your own success. Kindness, when offered without strength, can diminish your authority and undermine the respect others have for you. While kindness is a noble and essential trait, it must be balanced with firmness and boundaries to maintain its impact. If you're always kind without demonstrating strength, people may begin to see you as someone who is easy to manipulate or control. They may come to view your kindness as a sign of weakness rather than a reflection of your character. This perception can weaken your influence and erode the authority you hold in various areas of your life. When people sense that you are kind but lack the strength to enforce limits, they begin to push boundaries, testing how far they can go. They may take advantage of your willingness to help, assuming you'll always say yes to their requests. Over time, this leads to a dynamic where they no longer respect your decisions or consider your needs. They simply expect you to comply, knowing that your kindness will prevent you from standing firm. As a result, your ability to lead, whether in personal relationships, work, or social settings, becomes compromised. Authority doesn't come from being unkind or harsh, but from the ability to balance compassion with firmness. People respect leaders and individuals who can be both empathetic and assertive, who can show kindness while maintaining clear boundaries. When you only display kindness without the strength to back it up, you lose control of the situation, and people may no longer take your words or actions seriously. This loss of authority is subtle at first. You may find that people begin to disregard your opinions or requests, viewing you as someone who is too nice to enforce any consequences. They may start making decisions without consulting you or ignore your input altogether. The respect that once came from your balanced approach starts to fade, leaving you in a position where your kindness is seen as a liability rather than an asset. Furthermore, without strength, kindness can sometimes lead to over-accommodation. You may find yourself constantly bending to others' will, afraid to assert yourself out of fear of being seen as unkind or uncooperative. This not only diminishes your authority, but also causes you to lose your sense of self. You become overly concerned with pleasing others at the expense of your own principles, which can lead to feelings of frustration, resentment, and exhaustion. True authority comes from knowing when to be kind and when to be firm. It requires the strength to say no when necessary, to hold people accountable for their actions, and to stand by your values even when it's uncomfortable. People respect those who are kind, but who also demonstrate the strength of character to lead with conviction and clarity. Kindness without strength also risks sending mixed signals. People may become confused about where you stand, unsure whether you're leading with authority or simply giving in to avoid conflict. This can create an atmosphere of uncertainty where your decisions and directions are constantly questioned. Instead of being seen as a source of guidance and leadership, you become someone who is easily swayed, unable to enforce structure or command respect. To maintain your authority, you must pair kindness with strength. It's about being compassionate without being a pushover, empathetic without losing your voice. When people see that your kindness is grounded in strength, they will respect you not just for your generosity, but for your ability to lead with integrity. You'll be someone who can offer help and support, but also stand firm when needed, earning both their admiration and their trust. When you make it your mission to please everyone, you set yourself on a path filled with frustration, exhaustion, and inevitable failure. The desire to make everyone happy, to be liked and accepted by all, can quickly become overwhelming. The truth is, no matter how much you try, you will never be able to meet everyone's expectations or satisfy everyone's demands. People have different needs, opinions, and desires, and what pleases one person might offend or disappoint another. In the pursuit of trying to please everyone, you end up stretching yourself too thin, losing sight of who you are and what you truly stand for. One of the biggest dangers of trying to please everyone is that you start to compromise your own values and beliefs. To avoid conflict or gain approval, you may find yourself agreeing to things that don't align with your true principles. You become more concerned with others' opinions of you than with staying true to yourself. Over time, this leads to a loss of authenticity. You start to shape your actions, words, and decisions around what you think others want rather than what you believe is right. The result is that you lose your sense of self. And in trying to be everything to everyone, you end up being nothing to yourself. This constant effort to meet everyone's expectations can also lead to burnout. Pleasing people requires an enormous amount of emotional, mental, and sometimes physical energy. You may find yourself saying yes to every request, taking on more responsibilities than you can handle, and constantly adjusting your behavior to avoid upsetting others. This creates a cycle of overextension, where you're always trying to keep up with the demands of those around you, leaving little to no time for yourself. Eventually, the pressure builds and you begin to feel overwhelmed, exhausted, and resentful. Another danger of trying to please everyone is that it can lead to inconsistency in your actions. Because people's expectations are so varied, you may find yourself constantly changing your stance or behavior to accommodate different individuals. One day you're saying one thing, and the next day you're doing the opposite because someone else expects it. This inconsistency undermines your credibility and makes it difficult for others to trust or rely on you. People respect those who are clear and firm in their convictions, not those who waver depending on the audience. Moreover, when you prioritize pleasing others over being true to yourself, you invite others to take advantage of you. People quickly learn that you're willing to sacrifice your own needs, time, and energy to make them happy, and some will exploit that. They'll start to push boundaries, expecting you to go above and beyond, knowing that you'll likely comply just to avoid conflict or disappointment. Over time, you become more of a tool for other satisfaction than a person with your own rights and boundaries. In trying to please everyone, you also set yourself up for a deep sense of failure and disappointment. No matter how hard you try, there will always be someone who is dissatisfied. It's an impossible task to meet everyone's expectations because people will always find reasons to critique or disapprove. When you invest so much of your energy in gaining approval, these inevitable rejections feel much more personal and painful. The more you try to please, the more disappointed you become when people don't respond in the way you had hoped. Ultimately, trying to please everyone means you stop prioritizing what's important to you. Your goals, your passions, and your personal growth take a back seat to the whims of others. You become reactive, constantly adjusting to what others want, rather than proactively pursuing your own path. This leads to a lack of fulfillment because instead of living a life that reflects your values and ambitions, you're living a life dictated by the expectations of others. The most powerful lesson in all of this is that true happiness and success come not from pleasing everyone, but from being true to yourself. You have to recognize that no matter what you do, there will always be critics, and that's okay. The goal isn't to be liked by everyone, but to live in alignment with your own values and purpose. When you stop trying to please everyone, you free yourself from the exhausting cycle of approval seeking, and you gain the strength and confidence to live a life that's authentic and fulfilling. When you lack toughness, you unintentionally open the door to unfair expectations from those around you. People start to assume that because you are accommodating, agreeable, and flexible, you will continue to absorb whatever demands they place on you. This is not a reflection of your kindness, but rather a perception that you do not have the strength to push back, set boundaries, or say no. Over time, this perception solidifies and you become the person others turn to when they need something, whether it's reasonable or not. Without the ability to stand firm, you become a target for those who expect more than they should. You may find yourself in situations where people ask you to do things far beyond what's fair or acceptable, simply because you've developed a reputation for always being willing to comply. They know that you'll likely say yes, even when the request is unreasonable, because you've shown a pattern of avoiding conflict or confrontation. This creates an imbalance in relationships, whether professional, personal, or social, where you are constantly giving while others are taking without consideration for your limits. The real danger here is that when you consistently allow others to place unfair expectations on you, it becomes the new normal. What starts as occasional requests for favors or extra work turns into an ongoing pattern where people expect you to be endlessly accommodating. They no longer see you as someone with needs or boundaries of your own, but rather as someone who exists to fulfill their demands. And the more you meet these unfair expectations, the more they escalate. What was once a favor becomes a requirement, and people start to feel entitled to your time, energy, and effort. This lack of toughness can also lead to feelings of resentment and frustration. While you may initially agree to these demands in an effort to maintain harmony or avoid disappointing others, over time, the weight of constantly bending to others' expectations begins to take a toll. You start to feel drained, overburdened, and unappreciated. Deep down, you know that the expectations placed on you are unfair, but because you've never asserted your boundaries, you struggle to break free from the cycle. As these feelings build, they can negatively impact your emotional well-being and your relationships. Another consequence of lacking toughness is that people begin to lose respect for you. When you are always agreeable and accommodating, others may interpret this as weakness rather than kindness. They may start to take you for granted, assuming that you will never stand up for yourself or challenge what's being asked of you. This diminishes your authority and influence, both in personal relationships and in professional settings. People respect those who are able to assert themselves and establish clear boundaries, and without this toughness, you may find that your voice and opinions are easily dismissed or overlooked. In addition, when you lack toughness, you're likely to internalize the pressure to meet these unfair expectations, even when it's detrimental to your own well-being. You might start to believe that it's your responsibility to make everyone else happy, or that you're obligated to say yes to every request, no matter the cost. This mindset leads to burnout as you continually prioritize others' needs over your own. You push yourself beyond your limits, not because you want to, but because you feel you have no choice. This self-imposed pressure can erode your sense of self-worth as you begin to equate your value with how much you can do for others. The key to breaking this cycle is developing the toughness to set clear boundaries. Toughness doesn't mean being harsh or unkind, but rather having the strength to assert your own needs and limits without guilt. It's about recognizing that you have the right to say no, that your time and energy are valuable, and that you do not have to meet every expectation placed on you. By demonstrating this toughness, you not only protect yourself from being overwhelmed by unfair demands, but you also gain the respect of others, who will come to see you as someone who is strong, confident, and in control of your own life. When you stand firm, you teach others how to treat you. You show them that while you are kind and willing to help, you are not a pushover. You create a healthier dynamic where expectations are realistic and respectful, and where you are free to prioritize your own well-being without fear of disappointing others. This balance is essential for maintaining healthy relationships and ensuring that you are not constantly sacrificing your own needs for the sake of others. Toughness, combined with kindness, allows you to navigate life with strength and compassion without being burdened by unfair expectations. Kindness, while a valuable and admirable trait, can sometimes serve as a distraction from your true purpose and goals. When you prioritize being kind to others above all else, you risk diverting your attention and energy away from the pursuits that truly matter to you. This distraction can manifest in various ways, often subtly at first, but it can gradually lead to a significant deviation from the path you originally intended to follow. As you engage in acts of kindness, whether through helping others, volunteering, or simply being there for friends and family, it's easy to lose sight of your own aspirations. You may find yourself saying yes to every request for help, whether it aligns with your goals or not. While offering support and kindness is noble, when it becomes a constant expectation, it can consume time and resources that could have been directed toward your own development. As a result, your plans may take a back seat, leading to feelings of stagnation and frustration. This tendency to be overly accommodating can also create a pattern of overcommitment. You may feel a sense of obligation to help others whenever they ask, often without considering the impact it will have on your own life. As you become consumed by these responsibilities, you start to neglect the important tasks that are integral to your personal and professional growth. The more you invest in the needs of others, the less energy you have for your own ambitions. Your projects, dreams, and goals may be pushed aside, leaving you feeling unfulfilled and disconnected from your true purpose. Moreover, kindness can lead to a misplaced sense of identity. When you derive your self-worth from being helpful to others, it can overshadow your individual goals and passions. You might start to define yourself primarily by your acts of kindness, rather than your unique talents and aspirations. This can lead to a loss of focus on what truly drives you, as you become more preoccupied with meeting others' needs than pursuing your own dreams. As a result, you may find yourself on a path that does not resonate with your true self, feeling increasingly lost and directionless. Additionally, the expectation to be constantly kind can lead to a fear of disappointing others. When you prioritize kindness above your own goals, you may begin to feel guilty for wanting to focus on yourself. This guilt can become paralyzing, leading to a reluctance to assert your own needs or desires. You might avoid pursuing opportunities that could advance your career or personal growth simply because you fear letting someone down. This internal conflict can create a cycle of self-doubt and frustration as you grapple with the desire to be kind while also yearning to fulfill your own potential. The distractions of kindness can also impede your ability to set and achieve meaningful goals. When you're constantly sidetracked by others' needs, you may find it challenging to establish a clear vision for your own future. Without a focused direction, your ambitions can become vague and undefined. As a result, you may drift through life without a sense of purpose or fulfillment, feeling as if you're merely existing rather than truly living. This lack of clarity can leave you feeling unmotivated and unsatisfied, leading to a sense of regret over the time you've lost in pursuit of others' approval. It's crucial to remember that kindness should not come at the expense of your own goals and aspirations. While it's commendable to want to help others, you must also prioritize your own journey. Striking a balance between kindness and self-care is essential. This means recognizing when to lend a helping hand and when to redirect your focus toward your own objectives. It's important to understand that by pursuing your purpose, you can also inspire others to do the same. Your success can serve as a model for those around you, demonstrating that it's possible to be kind while also being driven and focused. Ultimately, kindness is most impactful when it flows from a place of self-awareness and purpose. By cultivating a strong sense of your own goals and values, you can engage in acts of kindness that align with your path rather than detract from it. This intentionality allows you to give freely without losing sight of your own journey. You can support others while also investing in your personal and professional growth, creating a harmonious balance that enriches both your life and the lives of those you touch. By doing so, you ensure that your kindness becomes a powerful force for good, enhancing your purpose rather than distracting you from it. Boundless kindness, while often viewed as a virtue, can inadvertently undermine accountability both for yourself and for those around you. When kindness knows no limits, it creates an environment where personal responsibility can wane, leading to a cycle of dependency and a lack of ownership for actions and decisions. This situation can manifest in various ways, affecting relationships, productivity, and personal growth. When you consistently extend kindness without boundaries, it sends the message that you are willing to overlook mistakes and forgive transgressions without any requirement for change or growth. This may result in a culture where individuals feel less inclined to take responsibility for their actions. If people know that you will always respond with kindness no matter the situation, they may begin to believe they can act without consideration for the consequences. This lack of accountability not only harms their development, but can also damage the overall integrity of your relationships. As kindness becomes unconditional, it can foster an environment of complacency. When people are not held accountable for their actions, they may not feel the urgency to improve or address their shortcomings. This complacency can seep into various aspects of life, including the workplace, friendships, and family dynamics. If a colleague consistently misses deadlines but knows they will be met with understanding rather than consequences, they may feel less motivated to improve their performance. Over time, this can lead to a decline in productivity and morale as the team becomes accustomed to a lack of accountability. Additionally, boundless kindness can blur the lines between support and enabling. When you always prioritize kindness, you may unintentionally enable negative behaviors by continuously bailing others out or making excuses for them. For instance, a friend who frequently asks for help but fails to make any effort to resolve their own issues may feel encouraged to remain in their current situation if they know you will always be there to assist them. This dynamic not only hampers their growth, but also places an unfair burden on you as you continuously invest time and energy into supporting someone who is not taking responsibility for their own life. Moreover, when accountability is undermined, it can lead to feelings of resentment and frustration on your part. You may find yourself constantly giving and giving, only to realize that your kindness is not being reciprocated or appreciated. This can create a sense of imbalance in relationships where you feel overburdened while others fail to acknowledge their own contributions or shortcomings. The lack of accountability can erode trust, as you may begin to question whether your kindness is truly valued or if it is simply taken for granted. In addition to personal relationships, the implications of boundless kindness can extend into professional settings. When team members are not held accountable for their actions, it can lead to a lack of discipline and a decline in overall performance. This environment can stifle innovation and growth, as individuals may become comfortable with mediocrity instead of striving for excellence. The team may start to expect kindness in the form of leniency, which can ultimately undermine the organization's goals and mission. Leaders who prioritize kindness over accountability may find that their teams struggle to reach their full potential as individuals become less driven to improve and contribute meaningfully. Furthermore, boundless kindness can cloud judgment and decision-making. When you are excessively focused on being kind, you may overlook the importance of setting clear expectations and boundaries. This lack of clarity can lead to confusion and misunderstandings, as others may not fully grasp what is required of them. Without well-defined expectations, individuals may feel lost or uncertain about their responsibilities, further contributing to a cycle of unaccountability. The absence of structure can hinder progress, stifling both personal and collective growth. To foster a healthy balance, it is essential to recognize that kindness should coexist with accountability. This means understanding that genuine kindness includes the willingness to hold others accountable for their actions while providing support and encouragement for improvement. But by establishing clear boundaries and expectations, you create an environment where kindness can thrive without undermining responsibility. This approach allows individuals to take ownership of their actions, fostering personal growth and development. Ultimately, embracing both kindness and accountability leads to healthier relationships and more productive environments. When people understand that kindness does not exempt them from accountability, they are more likely to strive for growth and improvement. This balance encourages a culture of responsibility, where individuals feel empowered to take charge of their actions and decisions. In turn, this promotes a sense of trust and respect, allowing kindness to flourish in a manner that enriches both personal and collective journeys. By recognizing the importance of accountability alongside kindness, you can cultivate an atmosphere where both can coexist, ultimately benefiting everyone involved. Kindness, often heralded as one of the highest virtues, can only reach its full potential when it is balanced with discernment. While being kind is essential for fostering positive relationships and creating a supportive environment, exercising discernment allows you to evaluate when and how to express that kindness effectively. This balance is crucial for ensuring that your kindness is not misdirected or used inappropriately, which can lead to unintended consequences for both you and those you wish to help. When kindness is offered without discernment, it can lead to misguided efforts that ultimately do more harm than good. For instance, helping someone in need may seem like the right thing to do, but if that person is not ready to accept help or continues to engage in harmful behaviors, your kindness may inadvertently enable them. Without discernment, you might fail to recognize that sometimes allowing individuals to face the consequences of their actions is a more effective way to encourage personal growth. By understanding the nuances of each situation, you can determine whether your kindness will genuinely benefit the recipient or merely prolong their struggles. Moreover, the absence of discernment in kindness can lead to emotional exhaustion. Continuously extending kindness without the ability to recognize when it is appropriate can drain your energy and resources. You may find yourself constantly giving without receiving anything in return, leading to feelings of resentment or burnout. This emotional toll can ultimately hinder your ability to be genuinely kind in the future. By practicing discernment, you can prioritize your efforts and invest your energy where it will be most impactful. This means recognizing when to step back and when to engage, allowing you to maintain your emotional well-being while still contributing positively to the lives of others. In relationships, a lack of discernment can create a dynamic where your kindness is taken for granted. If you consistently offer support without evaluating whether it is warranted, you risk fostering dependency rather than encouraging independence. When kindness becomes an expectation, it loses its value, and individuals may begin to rely on you instead of taking responsibility for their own lives. By balancing kindness with discernment, you can establish healthy boundaries that protect both your well-being and the growth of those around you. This balance allows you to support others while still encouraging them to take ownership of their actions. Additionally, discernment allows you to recognize the motivations behind others' requests for kindness. Not everyone who seeks help does so for the right reasons, and understanding the intentions of those around you is crucial. Some individuals may exploit your kindness for their benefit without any regard for your needs or feelings. By exercising discernment, you can evaluate whether someone's request aligns with your values and whether it will ultimately contribute to a constructive outcome. This awareness empowers you to make informed choices about where to direct your kindness, ensuring that it serves a higher purpose rather than enabling negative behaviors. In a broader societal context, the balance between kindness and discernment becomes even more significant. As communities face complex challenges, it is essential to approach acts of kindness with a critical eye. Charitable efforts, for instance, should be rooted in an understanding of the underlying issues that individuals face. Offering assistance without discernment may result in temporary relief, but fail to address the root causes of those issues. This can lead to a cycle of dependency rather than empowerment. By combining kindness with a thoughtful analysis of social problems, you can contribute to more sustainable solutions that foster true progress and transformation. Ultimately, the integration of discernment with kindness enriches both your life and the lives of those around you. It allows you to act with intention, ensuring that your kindness is purposeful and directed toward fostering genuine growth and healing. This balance enables you to engage meaningfully with others, fostering relationships built on mutual respect and understanding. By evaluating the context and needs of each situation, you can offer kindness that uplifts without compromising your values or well-being. In conclusion, kindness and discernment are not mutually exclusive, but rather complementary qualities that, when combined, create a powerful force for positive change. By practicing discernment, you can ensure that your kindness is effective, meaningful, and aligned with your values. This thoughtful approach empowers you to make a lasting impact while safeguarding your emotional health and promoting the growth of those around you. In a world that often encourages uncritical generosity, Embracing the balance between kindness and discernment allows you to navigate the complexities of human interaction with wisdom and grace. In conclusion, while kindness is undoubtedly a noble trait, it is essential to recognize that without the balancing forces of discernment, wisdom, and strength, it can lead to unintended consequences that undermine both your well-being and the growth of those around you. Misplaced kindness can breed dependency, enabling behaviors that stifle personal responsibility. When kindness is offered unconditionally, it invites exploitation and can create an environment where manipulation thrives. Furthermore, a lack of discernment in our kindness can lead to emotional exhaustion and resentment as we pour our energy into others without receiving anything in return. This imbalance can erode trust in relationships and diminish the value of our kindness, transforming it from a genuine expression of compassion into a burden. Ultimately, kindness devoid of accountability and clarity weakens our authority and can distract us from our true purpose in life. Therefore, it is crucial to approach kindness with intention and discernment. By evaluating when and how to extend our kindness, we empower not only ourselves but also those we seek to support. Let us embrace kindness as a powerful tool for positive change while also acknowledging the necessity of balance. In doing so, we can foster relationships rooted in mutual respect and responsibility, ensuring that our acts of kindness uplift and encourage genuine growth rather than enabling dependency or complacency. Remember, true kindness is not just about giving, it's about giving wisely, ensuring that both you and those around you can thrive in the journey of life.